Welcome to the Brewtiful Game. As always, I am Blake here with Ferris.
Hola.
And Ron.
What's happening?
And it's a lovely 7:20 a.m. in the morning for Ferris and I, which is why I'm doing my morning radio DJ voice. And Ron is chilling in the PM in China.
I was going to say, what a lovely morning drive voice you had there.
Yes, you do. It's very sultry.
It was also me trying not to yell, "Welcome to the Brewtiful Game," so that
I know.
My kiddo slept as long as possible.
Everybody's asleep.
Yeah,
the girlfriend's asleep. The dog's asleep. Like I'm just sitting here in my man cave, just trying to be as quiet as possible.
Well, normally, we'd probably do this a little bit later for us, but so we get to be a little tired instead of Ron fading at the end of the pod. It's all a trade off. This 12-hour time difference, but we're making it happen.
And some days it's easier than others. Leave me.
Yeah. Some days we plan to record Ron on his morning, but then an hour and a half later, he texts us from when we were supposed to record. He goes, "Hey, I just woke up."
Yeah, that's true. Although that wasn't this time.
No, that was not this time. But I'm not gonna lie, I was like, God, that can't be one of us now after that time. I remember Ferris and I texting each other. Well, I'm gonna go get breakfast. And I was like, yeah, I am too. We'll see.
Yeah, I got my lovely English breakfast tea here that I'm trying to slurp down before I.
You got a Captain Picard Earl Grey?
I did not go with Earl Grey this morning. I went with two eggings, just English breakfast. So
well, see what I love is we're still the Brewtiful Game talking about tea.
Oh, well, did you see? I think I sent you guys, or I think I even posted it on social media a while back. My mom, at the gift shop at the hospital that she works at, found a little tea holder for your bags. And on it, it says, "Have a brew tea full day."
Yeah.
TEA. So it's nice. Kind of cool. And that's what our tea bags sit in on the stove there.
Well, definitely this morning I was like, we need a Brewtiful Game mug. I mean, I got my little Zach insulated mug, so it'll keep this thing hot for like 2 hours, but we gotta look at our logo.
Yeah, we don't have mugs.
Yeah, for a mug.
Yeah, we don't have mugs or hats.
Sticker.
We do have
the stickers.
We do have
too.
magnets, which I'll pimp out early on if you want to leave a review.
And I have some Stonecast Brewtiful Game coasters.
Oh yeah, we need
that. My lovely your girlfriend got me, but at the Brewtiful Game bar. But that's about it.
I know we got to get over and actually hang out at a man cave situation for the Brewtiful Game today, though. Man, I'm very excited. Like a North London derby will happen later after we record this, 11:30 a.m. our time, and
a North London derby
means
that includes Jose.
Yes,
in prime Jose form at the moment.
Oh, he is
in prime Jose form. That's exciting and intriguing.
Yeah, and I'm not wearing it now. I'm wearing an old Arsenal jersey, but I finally got the new kit from this year. Sent in.
Oh, did you?
I'll put that on today while I'm watching. Well, the new kits. Like I wanted comfy in the morning. Man, the new kits are always a little tight on the nipples. So you don't want those.
It is an Arsenal kit.
It isn't, even though it's Adidas, and they switched up. I was like, still, man, jeez, okay.
And
did it come with a free tub of hair gel? Or?
Exactly. And even though you have some hair, mainly not. You should still use the gel because it just permeates throughout the nice...
It should be a Giroud gel, even though he's now at Chelsea, and he should start, as we'll get to. He should have, an informed Giroud should have started. We'll talk about that in a little bit. So you gents have some beer. I'm kind of being lame because I got a new prescription that I needed to hold off on having a beer today. So I'm just coughing it up. I have a nice 100% Arabica single source coffee though. So there you go. That's my brew.
Lovely.
You guys are so tired. It's funny.
I love it.
I am a degenerate, so I actually do have a beer at 7:25 a.m. East Coast time. Would you like me to go first there, Ron? Or?
Go for it.
Okay. As I kind of scramble to try to find a little bit of info on this beer.
Based on Untapped, I'm sure Ron's got a cool one because he's been traveling around.
Yeah, so gents, the day before 4th of July last week, that would be July 3rd. Math is a little hard this morning. Actually,
Math is hard.
I almost lit the kitchen ace holder or like the pot holder, that the cloth. I almost lit that on fire this morning because I turned on the wrong stove. Came into my room to set up. All of a sudden, I walk out there. I see smoke coming from the stove. I'm like, I almost light the thing on fire.
Ferris can't function this early.
Not awake right now, but anyways, what would be July 3rd, the day before our Independence Day? Where is Bill Pullman when you need him? I went down to a local brewery, one that we have recently had on the pod before, to pick up a can drop. And that can drop, gentlemen,
which of course in Florida our breweries have to go back to right now.
Yes. They yes, and they did an awesome job with everything. But Bowagin's Beer Company, I have the new classic lager.
Ooh.
Oh.
It is a pre-prohibition style lager.
Oh, the American ale or whatever they want to go style. This is the same company that got it was the COVID release, right?
Yep.
That was the money going back to everybody. Okay, yeah, that's cool.
They did the Hobgoblin that did that, and I can't remember if they also brewed the All Together beer or not.
I think they did a version as well. Yeah, but I meant their the one that they did for their employees, frontline employees. Yeah, that's awesome. Everything I've had of theirs has been really good.
Oh, it's been fantastic. I've had a few things of theirs, and anytime they drop something on Instagram, I'm kind of like, ooh, what is that about? But it's a dry hopped with Citra and Monterica hops.
An American style prohibition lager that was dry hopped. That's cool.
Yeah. It says, this is the lager you need in your life. We took this pre-prohibition style lager and dry hopped it with Citra and Monterica hops. The result is a full flavored, super refreshing beer with a crisp finish and great hop flavor. They only have a limited amount available, but I was able to get down there and pick myself up 2 4-packs, and I've already went through 1 4-pack and only had 2 beers left of this, so it is damn good. That's gentlemen.
Cool. I'm a little jealous. That sounds awesome. I want to try. I'm gonna have to make a craft beer run today to the Sun Creek.
I have not been there yet. I know that we talked about it, but
I really so good. The blueberry sour that's out right now sounds good.
Pick up an extra 4-pack for Ron too.
Wanted to have this morning to wake me up, but I didn't get to go over there. So, all right, Ron, what you got? Because you're the Untapped again. If you've not followed us on Untapped, Ferris and I, we do what we can do. But Ron, world traveling and bouncing all over China right now, has got some cool stuff up there to get an education on. That's pretty rad. Pretty rad.
Yeah, China's got a lot of really good beer that's imported, but then they have a very healthy craft beer society going on. They're constantly doing like tap takeovers, and they're constantly doing like little beer festivals. Now that they are just coming out of, I guess, a second small wave of COVID, the beer festivals are starting to crop up. And one of the more famous ones is called the 8x8 Beer Festival. And it's 8 Chinese breweries and 8 breweries from a guest country. Oh, and they kind of pair them all up.
You had talked about this before, right?
Yeah.
You'd been to this one.
Yeah. So I'm really hoping that they'll keep the 8x8 this year. But one of the staples of the 8x8 beer festival is a company called Great Leap Brewing that was founded in 2010. And it's probably, well, it's my second favorite brewery in China. The first one is this one called Jing A. And this one, Great Leap, is my second favorite. And I have a really slick beer, keeping with the breakfast theme. This one is called the Silver Needle White Tea Ale. It's a 5.5 ABV, 16 on the IBUs if you're charting that at home. And it's their Great Leap Brewing's summer staple beer. It's a kind of a spiced tea ale. It's the lightest beer in color for them, infused with the Silver Needle white tea, which is known for its light and flavors. When consumed as a tea, the Silver Needle is usually blended with other teas and flowers to increase the palate presence. But when used in beer, the tea brings a subtle and balanced hint of flowers to the beer. And I've never had it, so this will be the first time, because it just came out for us here in Beijing. They only brew it for the summer, and then it goes away.
That sounds awesome.
That sounds awesome.
I also like that when you said the word flavor, something happened to your internet connection, and you sounded like a Dalek, and it was awesome. Flavor.
Well, this is the second or third white tea that beer that you've had on, right?
We had a jasmine
I think
tea
it's
lager.
the first
jasmine tea. Maybe that's what I'm thinking of.
I've had other teas, but I haven't had a white tea.
Oh, okay.
So this will be the first one on the pot.
Under my jersey.
Way too early for dad jokes.
That was Ferris's face. So great.
The blank expression that comes over his face is...
It was so blank, it looped around into negative and became a black hole. It was awesome.
Damn
yeah.
it.
So one other thing real quick that's really pretty cool in China is they do 300 milliliter cans, right? So I know at home you can't see this, but
it looks like
you
a 12
guys
ouncer from here.
It's way smaller.
Oh,
I see that now. Yeah. So what is that?
And
like
so
10 ounce?
It's 300. It's 300 milliliters. I have to look up. I don't do the conversions very quickly. But they have all kinds of different size cans. They'll do it's 10 ounces.
You beat me to it. I was almost there. Yep.
10 fluid ounces.
Got you.
So yeah, they do a 10 fluid ounce can. Yeah. And it's just enough, which is kind of cool.
True.
Yeah, it's not like one of those Coronas that are like 6 ounces or 7 or whatever that are super small. Yeah.
Yeah. So but the difference is that they don't have 12 ounce. It's either these 10 ounce or tall boy 16 ounce. So they don't, the craft breweries in China don't brew the 12 ounce or can in the 12 ounce can.
Well, I have a 16 ounce, but now that you say it, how many times have you had a 12 ounce and gotten to those last little bits and them not taste very good?
It's a little
or we'll kind of want to just throw it away. So maybe they're onto something with just getting almost right to that 12, but just enough to where it's good, and then
and then done. all of their can art. I know I'll take a picture and post it, but all their can art is like
that's cool. Yeah,
all these ancient Chinese folk heroes that are on them.
Yeah, the art styles were really cool.
Yeah, that's cool.
Yeah, they're super, super fun. So, yeah, that's the one I'm going to crack open.
All right, gents, you crack open your beers. I'll try this 100% Guatemalan coffee.
We don't talk about the Guatemalan football team a lot on the pod. I think we should dive into that.
Give it some time.
All right. Well, like I said, I've had this before. This is, I don't think I said it, but it's 5.8 ABV and 24 on the IBU meter. So just kind of a perfect drinking.
It's just called
lager.
Classic Lager. They're classic.
It's just called, it's called, I'll show you again. It's a kind of a slick can too, just a black, white, and gold. But the only thing that's gold on there is the new Classic Lager emblem, or the
cool.
It's very schwanky.
Lettering. Yeah, it's very, very, very bougie. Makes me feel like a Great Gatsby or something.
So what's its deal? What's its flavor profile?
Just crisp, smooth.
Is it extra hoppy since it's dry hops?
No, it's not. That's the thing that when you first have it, you expect to be hit by a little bit of, like, not a little bit of hops, but you expect to be hit by hops at the front. There is a little bit, but it just mellows out and is so crisp and so smooth that you feel like you're drinking a premium lager.
Do they do curbside delivery? Or is it pickup?
They do pickup window. But it's well, what's kind of cool is their logo is this hop with a end of a guitar handle through the hop, and when you go up to the brewery, they have that with "Please be safe and stay 6 feet apart." So you have all these little hops on the ground that everybody has to stay with in order to stay cool. Socially. Yeah, so. They do that. We'll wear a mask, hand sanitize after everybody. So they do a very good job, as do a lot of the breweries that over the last few months that I've been to in the area. Everybody does a good job of being safe, having a mask on, and so on and so forth. But it's a damn good beer.
All the breweries I've hit have been super safe. Yeah. I actually talked about that in a second. All right, Ron. Saw you over there getting Instagram picture taking your beer. I'm like, gosh, why he's so much better than us? Look at him.
This is a slick beer. Man, it's full of, it's kind of a roller coaster in your mouth for taste. It's so
there
good.
It is.
You're welcome. So it's a little on the malty side, but finishes with the crispness of like a very good Pilsner, but it's got this very, on the nose, it's very floral and kind of herby almost. And then you taste exactly what you smell as it goes over your palate. It's really good, really crisp, and you don't taste the alcohol at all.
See, a white tea beer would have been perfect this morning.
Yeah.
Yeah. Silver Needle White Tea Ale from Great Leap Brewing. It's badass.
Boom. Beer accomplished. We are the Brewtiful Game. Beer first.
Oh, God, that's good.
Soccer second.
That's so good.
Speaking of good, where you got us starting off at today on the soccer content affairs?
We got a little bit of match week 34. I mean, there's been games just high. Like, there's been games 1, 2, 3, 4, Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, 7 a.m., 9 a.m. Like, there's games all over the damn place now.
I'm trying to track our fantasy league, and instead I find myself making the minus of adjustments because there's so many games back to back. It's so hard to know if someone may get sat or not because there's so many Premier League games, I should say, just in case you were wondering.
And who would have thought Giroud was going to get sat today or yesterday?
Oh, yeah.
Right? So that just goes to your point in the respect that, like...
You go, oh, he's on fire. I'll captain or put him on or something, right? And then, nope, he's not going to get played. Yeah, it's
right,
so
because
hard.
there's games just coming so fast. And obviously part of it's because of the shutdown, but the later in the season they do have a little bit more midweek games because of other competitions that are out there. The FA Cup, Champions League, those type of things. Well, that stuff's not really going on. The FA Cup is, but because the schedule has kind of been compacted to finish at a decent time to start the next season, we have a lot of games. So there's we're not going to cover every game, but we're going to cover a lot of the big talking points from match week 34 and then the current match week that we're on right now, as I have Wolves and Everton on the screen of match week 35. So the table is going to reflect, as of yesterday, what was yesterday? July 11th game. So it does not include this. So we're in between 34 and 35 at the moment.
Perfect. And the first
Which is insane how fast the games are going.
Yeah. We kicked back in. And can I just say, I feel, Ferris won't like this, I feel bad for Liverpool because they were rolling toward this championship that was like, oh my gosh, you're so good. This is so fun. And then it stopped. And then when we came back, they won. They were declared champions so fast. We've already moved on past them.
Yes.
You know what I mean?
So.
And it's like, man, as a supporter waiting forever for your team to get a title, you just can't, you don't get to settle, you don't get to live in it. You know what I mean? Like it just feels your trophy and your victory were completely eclipsed. Yes. Yeah. And like if the season had been interrupted in such a way that the champion would have been declared, say, next week, you know, like even then, but by coming back and just boom, done, it just felt very jarring. And you know, people talking more about Man City right now.
Yeah, 10 goals in their last 2 games.
It's something like out of the last 5 games, they've scored 20 goals, 20 something goals, but they've lost 2 games. It's insane. Yeah. They've had a couple of 5 goal games. It's just crazy. But this first one you got up here is a sad one, and now because it's our official first relegation.
No, it's not. Well, this game did not cause that.
Well, that's true.
No,
but it was the nail getting placed in before it got hammered in the next game.
Yeah, that's one way of putting it.
Oh, Danny Welbeck.
Yeah, the seldom heard Danny Welbeck. He's no longer at Manchester United. He's no longer at Arsenal. He's at Watford. How many people knew that prior to 7:42 in the morning? Because
it was this match when they came on, or he was there and scored, that I was like, wait, as in Arsenal's Danny Welbeck? He's good for him.
Yeah.
I had totally lost track of where he was at.
And people remembered him very, very quickly because he scored a very interesting, fun goal that doesn't get scored a whole lot. A bicycle kick. Like, not only do Norwich lose, but then and are like one game away from going down, but then they insult to injury from a Danny Welbeck bicycle kick.
Yeah.
Not like a Cristiano Ronaldo bicycle kick. Like
a Danny Welbeck.
Yeah, an off the bench Danny Welbeck bicycle kick.
And every Arsenal fan is like, oh, that's what we were hoping for every year he was injured. That poor guy, he played so little at Arsenal. He just was hurt.
He was hurt half it because everybody that goes to Arsenal gets hurt.
Yeah.
Everybody. But this was the equivalent. Like, Norwich received a Premier League kick in the nuts. That's essentially what happened with a bicycle kick from Danny Welbeck.
You know that Norwich. You know that they were praying for the season to just be canceled so they could just have a do-over next season.
Jeez.
Well, and I will say, because of this win by Watford, I think your bottom 3 are set. And Norwich at the bottom, obviously they're relegated now after the match. After this, Aston Villa above them. They had 21 points. Aston Villa above them currently with 27. Bournemouth above them at 28. Watford now at 17 with 34 points. And the schedule that Bournemouth has left to them
brutal
makes me think
it's not good.
That this is probably your bottom 3. I don't really see it.
Yes. It's tough, but Bournemouth have the best chance to get out as they're only 5 points away, and they have they play today. So today is crucial for them, because if they get a win today, they're only 2 points out of what could possibly be Premier League survival. So
aren't they 6 points out?
Yeah, they're 6 point out right now.
That's the current table.
Oh, I'm sorry. Yeah.
Has it 6 points?
Yeah. But so, I'm sorry. If they win today, they'll be 8 points out. Math is hard if you it's 7 something in the morning. But that's with 3 games left after today. That is enough to where it is definitely possible. And yes, they have a tough schedule, but any win that they can get out of that right now, and hoping that, I haven't looked at Watford or West Ham's schedule, but they
Watford's is definitely friendlier.
Oh, I'm sure. I mean, because Bournemouth has what? They have Man City in there somewhere.
Oh, this is brutal, dude. I got it right here. They have
I
Leicester.
think they have United too.
Right, they have Leicester.
They
then
just
Man
played
City,
them. Yeah.
Then they have Southampton. Then they have Everton. It's not a friendly. It's not a friendly lineup. Watford has a second here. They have West Ham, Man City, and then Arsenal. That's a toss-up, that one.
That West Ham and Watford game is going to be,
if West Ham
big.
I guess that's, honestly, Bournemouth just doesn't have their own fate in their hands. Obviously, they really need West Ham to win.
Yes,
you would certainly hope that,
because if they do win, I don't know how Bournemouth will catch up at that point. And they play today.
That'll be tough.
Well, we're going to get to West Ham's last match again. That really put the nail in the coffin for Norwich. We'll get to that for match week 35. But I guess we should move on to keep us rolling, because we do have a tight end date or end time for this episode. Next one, we've got Arsenal at home versus Leicester. And man, for the most of it, Arsenal was up 1-0, but Jamie Vardy party back in town. There was a late red card, Nketiah. It wasn't. I don't think it was I don't think you meant to do it, but it was a red card. You know what I mean? You're like, oh, you didn't.
Yeah.
You went in for it, and you weren't intending that, but it's a red card.
Sun's up too high.
Yeah, it's a red card, and then Jimmy Vardy scores not even 10 minutes later, and then it's a 1-1 Arsenal. Still a much needed 1 point for Arsenal in this little battle, because this. I mean, we haven't actually talked about it in the last couple episodes, but Arsenal, you go, well, they're in 8th. Could they really? Well, 2 things. One, Arsenal's just probably, their fans, they just want to end above Tottenham if possible. But 2, we haven't talked about the fact, is it today that we get the announcement on what's going on with Man City as far as their eligibility
Monday.
for the Champions? Okay,
Monday
for the Champions
Monday.
League. So these 7th and 8th spots are interesting in the table, because they could be Europe for a team that wasn't going to be, as far as Europa, because it could shake up the who's going if Man City is declared ineligible, because this is their appeal, right? So this Monday is the final.
Correct. Yeah. And my gut with that is telling me that it'd be similar to what the Chelsea ban was, where the Chelsea ban was for 2 windows, and it was reduced to 1. I have a feeling this could be reduced just to 1 season, which would be next season. So yes, it would be very important anywhere in that top 5. This result was a fantastic result for any fan of Chelsea, Manchester United, Sheffield United, or Wolves, because a draw at this point was the best possible for the team that is in 4th and the team that is in 8th trying to get up to 4th. So any of those teams in between, a draw was a real nice sight.
Yeah, I was pretty happy about it. And because I thought we were going to keep pace away from little Manchester United. But it looks like that's going to happen.
Oh, that's Chelsea. Oh, man. Chelsea. We'll get to them in a minute. That's a whole...
We'll get to them in a little bit. I'm sure I'm going to hear about it. But I have a theory. So
why
when
do you
we
think
get
we're
there,
willing to wake up at 7 a.m. and do this pod, or get up at 6 a.m?
yeah, I figured
Yeah, right.
Like, we can't let this go by. But we'll get to them. I have a thought too. So I guess we move on here to Sheffield United against the Wolves. Sheffield, they're on fire right now. Like they
finally found their scoring boost.
2 games is not on fire.
Well, but
Right.
2 games with only a few left, and how tight this race is, and they've now put 4 points between them and 7th. For Sheffield United to get promoted, and if they just stay at 6th and get into Europa, that is effing huge,
Right.
man. Like,
oh yes,
and
yes.
you know, we really thought that was going to be possible, but then, you know, we came back into the season after the break, and it looked like, pardon me, it looked like Sheffield might not be able to pull that off. But now, that looks like a very strong reality. They are going to Europe in some form or fashion. Watch out, they could be in the Champions League, but definitely, this has been huge for them, and it was a late goal too.
A real late goal.
Ooh, I like your headline. The Blades slice late as they steal all 3 points away from the Wolves. That's good.
Yeah, that was actually a really good game overall.
If you weren't a Chelsea fan, the last 2 games actually were really fun for Sheffield United. Like, yeah, but that was a very fun match. Like, well, that was a blast all the way to the end.
And this was a good this Blake seeing Sheffield beat Wolves. Now both of them are obviously above you all, but Wolves.
Well, we're tied on goal differential and points at this point.
Correct. Yeah. Because, you know, Sheffield did nick some points off of Wolves. A draw would have been good for you guys. John Egan had other, you know, desires, but Sheffield has had a rough time coming back up. But one thing that Sheffield has done all season and for every game is they go to the end. They have that Bournemouthy fight from when, if you guys remember, when Bournemouth first came up, Bournemouth scored a lot of late goals, a lot of times at home, because they never gave up and they continued to push. And that's something that no matter what has gone on this year for Sheffield, even though they've had a hard run at it, they do really push throughout the entire game.
I would say between them and that Bournemouth club was Bournemouth would be down 3-1 and miraculously come back and draw or win. Yeah. Sheffield has a better defense than that Bournemouth team did. And so it's more like this.
100%.
It's like, you know, a 0-0 game, and the very last they slice in a goal.
Also don't take away the attacking power of that squad. Because they score a lot of really good, slick goals.
Yeah.
Some of them, you know, are, I don't know, you'd kind of call them lucky goals. But people are in the right place at the right time, pick up the rebound or the bounce off the post, or there to pressure the defense into making a mistake so they can poach a goal. And all that's getting them to, you know, 6th place where they are now.
And all without a prolific striker. A lot of their goals come from their midfield and their back line, off of set pieces, off of those scrappy goals, as and look, Ron was talking about.
If we started the season and someone had made the prediction, I think Sheffield United into the top 10, you'd have been like, oh, well, okay,
I'm pretty sure that I did, actually.
Did you? But like, they're already there. They're not going to go below that, and now they have a real strong chance to get into Europe. They played the Wolves. Obviously, they beat 1-0, but to let you know, in the 47th minute of the first half, the Wolves had a penalty and scored, and they are up 1-0 on Everton right now.
Yeah.
For those of you not listening now, because we don't do this live, but anyway, for you guys, just so you know, that's what's going on.
Yeah. Evertonians everywhere are going,
Yeah, come on, Everton. I need you to... Yeah, but Arsenal fans like win, damn it.
Oh yeah, you want them to beat Wolves big time.
And so does Sheffield, because you don't want them to catch up. You know
exactly.
Moving on. Speaking on things keeping stuff happy for Arsenal, we have Bournemouth at home hosting Tottenham Spurs, and your headline says it up. Classic Mourinho, 0-0.
Classic.
Yeah.
Awesome. Awesome Mourinho.
I mean, it's a shame the press conferences aren't done the same way anymore.
but they're still brilliant.
Yep.
They're still absolutely brilliant. I don't was it yeah, that I think it was this game where he was this one where he couldn't hear anybody and then he walked away, or was that like the post? The on-field one, he would not comment because he's not allowed to. He then was asked about VAR decisions, and to his point, he actually made a very valid point about VAR. He said he's not mad at VAR because it's not like it's a artificial intelligence that's making these calls.
Oh,
there are
artificial.
still people. There are still people on the other end of it. So the ref in stadium makes a call, and then it essentially goes to another ref that's sitting and watching replays that's making either the same call or reversing that call. There was a big penalty decision in this. It didn't go their way. Welcome back, classic Jose.
Yeah, it's a shame Bournemouth couldn't sneak one in and get all 3 points for this. I mean, shame for me as an Arsenal fan.
Yeah, but it's also that's also really great for the Jose Mourinho narrative, because there's nothing that brings out the great Jose that we all love and cherish so much as when he thinks he's being cheated.
Oh yeah. Oh yes.
That's the
it is classic.
That is the best.
34th minute, 47th minute, 52nd minute. It's all right there. I'll never forget that.
He still just looks miserable.
Oh, he looks like life's awful. Yes.
Yeah, he just had a few months off. He's back in the Premier League. He's has Tottenham, has Harry Kane, and he still looks like life just sucks for him.
Yeah, his face reminds me of this phrase that someone told me. They said, people always need something to complain about, and Jose's face reminds me of this friend of mine who his mentality was kind of like this. I could go to that person and say, "Hey, you just won $5 million a day for life. Congratulations." And he would go, "Well, do I have to pay the taxes?" Like,
there's always, yeah.
Someone's always peeing on his leg.
I need more.
Someone's always peeing on his leg.
I need more edits of Jose walking around and na 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 na, like playing Every Head Linus style or Charlie Brown style.
Yeah,
because this was one that they needed those 3 points, because right now they'd be in 7th right now if they had won this game, because they have 49 points. Actually, I think the table's a little off there, Ferris. They're at 9th. They're 10th with 49th, and Bournemouth is 9th. Burnley is 9th with 50. There we go. 50. But yeah, I mean, he was super, super PO'd, and it was hysterical. Did we talking about post conference? Have we had a pod since Klopp talked about the sensual erotic?
No.
Oh, are you serious?
We haven't.
Oh my God. Okay.
We haven't.
Okay. I will, when the pod is over, but it's basically a post-match conference, and it is the guy translating from the French, and he asked the question, and I swear, it's like it's the presser, and Klopp's like, "That voice is, it's very erotic," and the crowd just like loses it. And he does this with his big teeth. He's like, "No, keep talking." It's amazing. I think someone sent it to me on Facebook. I'll send it to you guys.
Perfect.
I literally was howling at it. It is,
you gotta send that.
It's this whole series press conference. Well, serious, but about being champions, yada yada. And then this guy just asked this question, and Klopp like, "That is very erotic." I was dying and laughing with his big old teeth.
I read the headline. I just didn't get to see any of the video or hear the audio.
Well worth it. Well worth it. So the last one we're going to talk about from match week 34, Aston Villa and Manchester United. Manchester United on a roll, whoops Villa 3-0.
Steam rolling.
And I got to be honest.
Sorry, Matt.
This starts to feel like, obviously, Bournemouth's in trouble. Aston Villa, I feel like that's just your bottom three. That's just kind of set and done. I don't see the Villa coming out of this one.
Yeah, definitely down with the Villa. Couldn't have happened to a nicer team. See ya.
God, I don't know why Matt still listens to us. Yeah, so, I mean, Manchester United's just been really good since coming back
firing
from the
on
break.
all cylinders,
I mean,
firing absolutely on all cylinders.
Yeah. And what's interesting about this, sorry, Ferris, what's really interesting about this game is that not only was Manchester United just good and continuing their current form of, really solid play out of the midfield play and link-up play between your attacking squad, but as good as Manchester United was, Aston Villa was complete.
Oh, yeah. Woof.
Their defense running into each other on tackles, taking the ball away from each other accidentally. It was just bad.
And a lot of that was because of the play of what United had. They have a starting lineup right now that just gels so well with the front three of Rashford, Greenwood, and Martial. You then have your midfield three of Fernandes, Pogba, and Matic. Your back four, Shaw, Lindelof, Maguire, and Bissaka. That is a very, very solid team, and a team that everybody's seeing it now, but when you look at the players out there on how well they complement each other and how they really control the game, and then that link-up play that you're talking about, Ron, don't give me that. that link-up play that you're talking about between that midfield, between Bruno, Pogba, and then the three up front, and then Matic just being so key right now because he is linking and really supporting that back four, but allowing Pogba and Fernandes to play. And they are a joy to watch. And with this game, because they won 3-0, they become the first team ever in the Premier League to win 4 straight games by 3 goals or more. When you think about the Man City teams over the past few years, when you think about the United teams of old, when you think about the Invincibles, think about the Liverpool team in the past few years, no Premier League team has done that. And it really is because of the insurgent play by Bruno Fernandes. He scored a penalty in this. It was not a penalty in fairness. I did not think that was a penalty call, but he buried it calmly. He then assisted on Pogba's goal.
Fernandes might be the single greatest signing in a long time in the Premier League, as far as he's a person that has walked in and the team looks completely different.
He's been the best signing since Robin Van Persie signed last year that Sir Alex was in charge. And that includes Zlatan, that includes Pogba, that includes Falcao, that includes Di Maria. I mean, the list can go on. Pogba, by the way, is loving life now at Manchester United. He has somebody else that he can create with, and somebody else that he can.
He doesn't have Jose Mourinho there,
and he doesn't have Jose there. So he's even. They're talking that he will resign, which would be huge because when Pogba's on his game, look what he did for France in the World Cup. Look what he did for Juve a few years back.
Yeah, you keep talking about that.
Such a strong
I start
talent.
to see that happen daily on the Premier League. Because that is he's a flippy floppy.
In fairness, he came out and said after this game, he was being interviewed. And he was asking, how is this run of form and how are you enjoying it? And he basically said, well, it's fun, but we haven't won anything yet. So I think they all know that, yes, it's a good time in the club and they're all scoring goals and it's free, but they need to carry that over and hopefully get into the Champions League, have a good run in FA Cup, do a little bit of damage in the Premier League next year.
Your results in the last 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 games are amazing. A draw against Tottenham, beat Sheffield, beat Brighton Hove, beat Bournemouth, beat Aston Villa. I mean, that's at least one team in the top 10 you beat. So that's good.
Yeah, it's not necessarily
right. That's what I was going to say. I was going to say, let's put this in perspective because you're beating up on the low end of the table.
Okay,
and you're over here, singing this song of amazing justice and glory, Man United. But you beat Norwich. Of course you should have beat it.
I feel like that is a sound effect I've got to put on. So the next time Ferris does this, it slowly starts to go in the background. And
that's why I was over here playing the violin.
They still become the first. They still become the first team ever in the Premier League to win by 3 goals or more in 4 games. So I don't give a who they play. Chelsea haven't done that. Arsenal haven't done that. Liverpool haven't done that. You can only play who's in front of you, and they haven't won 1-0. They haven't drawn. They haven't been Arsenal who up everything. They put 3 past at least all of those teams, and that's a stat that has not been done before. So yes, you can sit there and say it's not necessarily murderers row, and they haven't been doing it all year. But now that we have a team that's gelling, do either of your teams want to play United right now? That front 3 has scored more goals.
We only stand up against the hard teams. Everybody else, we fold over.
Well, that
is.
But
I mean, who's the only people that have built? Who's the only team that's beaten Man City lately? Chelsea.
No,
right? So yes,
Manchester United beat them twice before we went down for the break.
Lately, as in after.
Oh, well, we've only had a couple of games.
That's 6 games. What do you want?
God, it is 6 games. That's so wild to me. That's still so crazy that in such a short time.
While you're over here having a ticker tape parade for Manchester United, just keep in mind that it's all the bottom tier teams that you're stepping on the backs of. Which and I get it. You still have to play the games. Yep. Somebody's still got to win. That's great. But just keep it in perspective before you start writing their name.
When's the 3+ goals?
Oh, and you know who they play Monday? Southampton, which is like not a pushover, but still. See, that's the thing. You look at the rest of Man United's freaking schedule; it's infuriating. It's Southampton, Crystal Palace, West Ham, and Leicester.
Hey, Arsenal, do better. Don't sit here. No, don't be mad because you're going to have to drink some piss beer at the end of the year because you guys can't catch up with the glorious and all amazing Manchester United. And gentlemen, I do have another amazing stat for you.
Here it comes.
This one's hold on. You guys,
is this where? Can you just turn his mic off?
He can't do that. That's not how this pod works.
You off, unfortunately.
Yes. So this is hysterical. Mason Greenwood has scored more Premier League goals in 9 days than Alexis Sanchez managed in 2 seasons for Manchester United.
Well, I mean, I've scored more goals than Alexis Sanchez did for Manchester
United.
But
Mason Greenwood also played more games than Alexis did.
Yeah.
Not in 9 days he didn't.
I don't know. In 9 days, I feel like, yes, Sanchez had 3 games, maybe, tops. What do he have? Like, he was always hanging out with his dogs.
Yes. Now he's hanging out with his dogs in Italy.
Oh, my God, that was hysterical.
The point of the story is Manchester United is amazing.
They're on a tear right now.
It's been several years since we've even seen a glimpse of a semi entertaining quality squad, and that it's looking like it's showing itself is great.
Yeah,
amazing.
It is fun to watch them.
Even Afton's excited. You can hear her in the background. Even Afton is excited that Manchester United.
She literally just let out a big yay.
See.
Yeah, I'll tell you, it is fun to watch them all play. I won't take that from you.
Yeah, Fernandez is awesome. Like what a great signing. And kind of like no one talked. It wasn't a big deal when he got. You know what I mean? Like for the impact he's had.
Yeah.
The signing. You know, there's been something more like, oh my gosh, this club got this person. It's going to be amazing, and it kind of does or doesn't. You know, your Sanchez's, that kind of thing. Although Sanchez, I didn't think it was going to be great for you because he wasn't doing that great at Arsenal at the time. He's a player that you can look back and go, oh man, this amazing moment that this happened in, he was so good at What about the rest of the season? Well, don't talk about that. Talk about this one time in this season that he did this thing. Yeah, that's kind of
Right.
all right, over to Match.
And Fernandez is the he got the Premier League Player of the Month this past month, and it's his second in a row.
Well, this moves us over.
And I will, before you go to 35, I will say it's very interesting that the person who created the content, who shall remain nameless,
I was going to say, it's interesting that we're going to go straight to this match.
Well, it's also interesting that he didn't talk about the last match that Chelsea had won to keep Manchester United at bay, 3-2 over Crystal Palace.
And
You're welcome.
Palace. Okay.
Just saying.
3-2 squeaking by against Roy and boys in Crystal Palace.
Crystal Palace sits higher than most of the clubs that you played.
Well, didn't Chelsea have to mount a second half comeback against Aston Villa 2 weeks back? They did.
No.
That's the answer to the question. They did.
That's
a couple games back, right?
3 weeks back.
Oh my God, that's how fast we're getting games.
Right? And that's how it is so hard to keep track of. Fantasy is wild. It's so hard to keep track of stuff. That moves to match week 35. The other United, Sheffield United, the guy who probably would got coach of the year, manager of the year, if not for Liverpool's great run. It's obviously, right. Klopp, but Sheffield United, they win 3-0 over Chelsea the Blues.
That was vicious.
It was
just vicious.
It wasn't. Sheffield was just really good that day. I don't even.
It looked like Sheffield from earlier in the year.
Yes.
Yeah. And they haven't been able to find the back of the net, but they sure as hell did this. And McGoldrick hasn't scored in like 739 days times 5. And he scores a brace in this game.
And McGoldrick, can we just say that sounds like a Harry Potter character every time?
100%. Right. 100%.
Professor
and I was watching Harry Potter. They do it all the time now between sci-fi USA, where there's a Harry Potter weekends. And I'm watching this game while watching the Prisoner of Azkaban, and they're going through the names, and I'm like, McGoldrick could have totally been
right. He's one of the heroes, right?
Exactly.
Every time I hear McGoldrick, I used to think of the Key and Peele sketch. McGoldrick, Hogwarts. You
Hogwarts, yeah. Hufflepuff. Actually, if you go through the Sheffield United lineup, their entire team is just one big Harry Potter school. Stevens, Jagielka, Freeman, Robinson, Bullock, Fleck, O'Connell, Basham, Lundstrom, Norwood,
Egan,
Bryan, Osborne, Rodwell, Burge, Freeman, McBroom, Sharp, Egan, McGoldrick, Clark.
Did you say McBurney? McBurney's
my apologies. Yes,
yeah, that's a really good one.
That's a really good one.
I mean, that is Sheffield is like the fifth house in at the Hogwarts School of Witchcraft and Wizardry.
Well, I mean, I know a lot of Chelsea fans I saw were complaining online, like, Giroud's really informed, you didn't start him, yada yada, all this about Chelsea. And yes, Frank Lampard's disappointed because they're trying to get a top 4 spot, and this actually could really knock that out of the possibility. But with these games on top of each other, I don't know that I put any fault on him for the team he put out there. He has to rotate these people. Giroud is not a young player anymore.
No, but he's a handsome player.
He is, but you know what I mean? Like, I don't really, I can't fault him for his choices based on the brutal schedule as is. I think it just,
Chelsea are fine.
There's a possibility they could get in trouble. They're probably for the top 4. Well, you say that, but you could knock them out, Ferris.
Yes, we could. But
you and Leicester can easily knock them out.
I say they're going to be fine, there's a lot of excitement still with the young team that Chelsea has.
Sure.
And those that are coming in the offseason that they signed. Now, the only thing that I will say, and Ron, I'm sure you'll talk about this, is the back line of Chelsea spotty at best. And that is worrisome as they move forward.
Yeah. Agreed.
And what's this deal with William where, like, they're hesitant to give him a long-term contract? But he wants to stay?
Well, Williams been like, ever since we had the multi-manager swap and we had the sorry issues, he's always been that player who says he wants to stay, and the words say one thing, but the actions and the actions off the field and on the field say something different. I have honestly thought every year since we got rid of Antonio, and since Antonio Conte left, every year I'm like, well, Williams gone. This transfer window, Williams gone. He says he wants to stay, but he never acts like it. He always looks unhappy, and he really hasn't been producing all that much until coming out of the COVID break.
That's true.
So
that's also possibly the agent talking as well half the time.
Right. So there's a lot of factors, but here looking at Chelsea coming out of the COVID break, right? They played Aston Villa, Man City. They won both of those. They won against Leicester, lost against West Ham, won against Watford, won against Crystal Palace, lost to Sheffield United. Do you know the one thing in every game we've lost so far? The common denominator is my good buddy, Jorginho. If he is in the midfield, we lose the game. Every other time, N'Golo Kante has been in the midfield, and we have better distribution, we have a better defense, we have better attacking play, because N'Golo Kante is probably still one of the best midfielders playing the game right now. But we never play him in the role that he's so good at. So Jorginho started against Sheffield because N'Golo Kante's got a knee problem. And our midfield was completely porous. Our defense was, just barely struggling because they have no midfield support. So I don't put all of Chelsea's problems on Jorginho, but he's a good catalyst for why we have such lackluster play in the back and poor distribution.
Because he doesn't work nearly as hard or provide what Conte can. Conte is an all-around midfielder in the fact that he will cover a lot of ground from box to box. He will do a very good job of protecting a very porous back four that you guys have, but can also distribute the ball very well. And I say very well because he's not one that is going to ping balls around like a Jorginho or a Pogba, but he is very economical in how he distributes the ball, which means he doesn't turn the ball over a lot. And he puts the ball and he keeps the ball on the ground and he plays a lot of smart passes. And that's something that is missed in the game nowadays, but you forget is the fundamentals of midfield. I mean, that can be so useful. And that's why Conte has won Premier Leagues, because whether it was with the Foxes or with the Blues, he's been a pivotal part in that. And how the previous managers at Chelsea as of late have not really anchored him in that midfield is mind-boggling.
Yeah, agreed. I also think his vision for how particular plays come together,
how the game is,
yeah. I imagine it like it's a Tom Cruise movie where he sees the guy making the move before the guy makes it,
right?
And then he's able to dodge around it and punch him in the face just right.
And he does his own stunts throughout. Yes.
And he jumps on the couch and he screams and wait.
That's kind of how my brain pictures N'Golo Kante playing soccer, because he just finds the smart thing to do so much better than someone like Jorginho, who I think, only got there because he and Sarri were such good friends in Italy.
He's Italian and he could pass the ball, but I mean,
but if you're not playing the smart pass or the good one,
he needs to be more in that midfield for them. He needs to be stronger. He needs to be more defensive. He needs to do a number of things where he's not a bad midfielder, but is that what Chelsea needs at this time, or is does he share qualities that Conte had? But in my opinion, he doesn't, and he doesn't deserve a spot in that midfield over Conte if you're having to choose between the two.
Right. Agreed.
It's almost like the great England debate of the 90s and early 2000s. You can't play Steven Gerrard and Frank Lampard in the midfield, and it was mind-boggling because they never could play in the midfield and the team have some sort of success, and that's kind of what's happening here between Conte and Jorginho. So, but the people that you have coming into the club next year so far, it looks real nice.
It's promising. Yeah, I think it's promising. Really, we just finish out inside the top 5. Life is good.
Well, I still think. Well, you probably get a Champions League depending on what happens in Man City, but I think you guys can hold on to it. I think Leicester is shakier than Chelsea. I know there was a lot of doom conversation about Chelsea yesterday, but I feel like Leicester is a little more wobbly. So I think you stand a better shot of. It might be close, but if I had to bet, well, wait a minute, Ron, we have 2 cans of Red Snapper. Speaking of betting,
how are you gonna get it to China?
Oh, I will mail it to you, so it's nice and hot. It's skunky by the time.
Nothing like hot snapper to get you going.
Good morning,
Snapper head. I always call it Red Snapper. It's not. It's Snapper Head, right? Is that what it's called?
Yeah,
Snapper Head.
It's like
gross beer.
A farmhouse session.
You might as well join in, Ron.
Isn't it technically an IPA?
It's technically like a pale ale.
I think so.
Yeah, I put it in an IPA.
Oh my god!
It tastes like nothing.
What a train wreck of a brewer.
Yeah, can't wait till I got to try that.
It's gonna be very soon, by the way.
Yeah, it is. Oh Lord. So there you go, Ron. If you think Chelsea can make it in,
it is an IPA.
Yeah,
it's a farmhouse session IPA. Do those two things actually go together?
It's a lie, is what it is.
Yeah, totally.
Oh, jeez. Well, moving on. West Ham needs to win, and they do. West Ham goes to Norwich.
Norwich needed to win.
Yeah.
Well, they need to win a lot, to be fair, to get out of this. But West Ham goes to Norwich, and man, 4 goals for one gentleman seals the deal. Norwich, not only do they get relegated, but Antonio has his best game ever.
Ever, yeah.
I mean, he was on fire. 4-0? That's like some FIFA, like on easy stuff.
That is Mikel Antonio's life.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The Carlton from Fresh Prince dancing attacker had himself a game, and because of his 4 goals, because of his 4 goals and the West Ham getting a win, that officially relegates Norwich down to the championship.
Mikel Antonio should watch out. He keeps scoring like that. He's going to get like on Arsenal or something and then stop scoring.
Arsenal, where good players go
and
to
be hurt
their career.
And be hurt.
Yeah, that was a brutal way to have to go out. Felt bad for Norwich, but I mean, sitting at 21 points, there was just no way. They needed everyone to lose out, and they needed to win out above them. It wasn't going to happen.
Yeah.
So goodbye, Norwich. They are the team that has come up and been relegated the most in the Premier League, I believe. Like
that sounds about right. Actually, that sounds about right. Yeah,
been promoted.
And what's crazy is they had such a good, strong start to their season.
Yeah, remember Pookie?
They came flying out.
Yeah. Doesn't matter. That's how you finish. And where has Timu Puki gone? Nowhere.
Who knows?
I think he's not going to stay there. Someone will snatch him up. Like some club will pull him in.
The one of the teams that come up from the championship will snatch him up.
Actually, if I was Sheffield, I would snatch him up because, as you pointed out, they don't have like a goal scorer.
Yeah, that's not a bad shout.
But he's a really good team player as well. Yeah, that'd be a good.
Yeah, that's not a bad shout.
And that gets us over to Watford versus Newcastle. This is a big win for
Huge
Watford,
win.
man.
Huge win, yeah.
And a fun game overall.
A win that Newcastle, where are they sitting at right now? They have 43 points. They're fine.
They're fine, yeah.
But you feel like a game that Newcastle should have had, but they go to Watford and they lose 2-1.
Huge win.
Troy Deeney, man, he's back
2 pens, but
yeah.
He converts both, so that big win.
This is Elton John's team, right? Watford?
Yeah.
Right? Yeah.
Yeah.
Good for Elton.
The Hornets.
I like him hanging out over there.
And they have I love that they're the Hornets, but their crest is a
right? A moose.
A moose.
Moose, thank you.
Yeah.
Most confusing shit ever.
Yeah, so it's a hornet moose.
Watch out for the stinger.
Damn it, I don't know why.
Why did that get you?
I have no clue. Because it's 8:26 a.m. on Sunday the 12th.
Yeah. Oh, speaking of, man, how's that Everton game going right now?
Not good for Everton.
Nope, 2 down. They're down 2 in the 66th
Every
minute.
time you need Everton to help your club out,
Yeah, right?
they will not.
Jeez.
Nope. You can never count on Everton.
Well, you can.
You know what?
Do this.
I forgot that Everton
is
coached by Carlo Ancelotti.
Yeah.
Completely forgot that.
Yeah, the guy who was in top line possibly to get the Arsenal gig.
Yeah. Where was he at last? I think it was Bayern Munich, Real Madrid.
It was a penalty.
Everton.
In the 47th. Yeah, that's right. Oh, they scored right when the second half started, too.
Yeah.
So they scored at the end of the first and the beginning of the second. Oof.
Brutal.
Man, Everton.
Sleep tight, Everton.
Let's move us over to a very angry Klopp who acted like the championship was still on the line. Liverpool versus Burnley. Burnley steal a point from the champs to help move them to top 10, but Liverpool probably got cheated out of a penalty there.
Nah, whatever. They still have the title.
Yeah, they do, but
sorry for you.
But that penalty, Klopp was right. And you know what I love? I love how angry and passionate he was, even though, as you said, it's already done. They got a Champions League in the belt and a championship, and they got a Premier League championship in the belt, and he's out there like it still matters, which says
that's good. Oh yeah,
it needs 100%. To say about why they are how they are. Yeah.
A lovely goal by Jay Rodriguez here, who was once a very promising young player that could do, could help bring England back to glory and do all these things. Kind of bounced around now. Started off at West Ham, and it's just a draw and one goal in the 35th game of the Premier League season. But a lovely goal and a very good point for Burnley, who puts them up into the top 10. That they've been so quiet and really not that great all year, and yet they're sitting in the top 10, which is it says a lot for Sean Dyche.
And at the very end of the game, they almost won it. That ball off the crossbar. Oh man.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Which so close. Which that actually would have been really bad then if Liverpool had not gotten that penalty and they actually lost the game.
And then they lost. Yeah.
Nah, that wouldn't have been bad.
But that penalty was unbiased reporting, fair and balanced.
Exactly.
The Brewtiful Game. That was a penalty though. It was like, what's the point of VAR? That was a penalty. It wasn't a bad penalty. It was a penalty. And VAR has had some.
They came out and
they apologized.
They came out
like 2 or 3 bad calls
match
in one
week
day. Yeah.
34. They came out and said they got all 3 of those wrong. Yeah,
that is just how you're just
how is every other country and every other league making VAR look like it actually works, and yet England boshes it up with whatever the hell they're doing.
Yeah, but how do you sit at home and see the slow motion and go, Oh, damn it. It's not my club, but that's a penalty. And then the guy in the booth can't see. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't understand.
Yeah.
I need some
I like the idea that they're talking about making the conversation between the VAR and the referee as part of the game so you can hear what they're talking about. Yeah. I think they should do that.
Oh, that'd be interesting, yeah.
I think they should, because then you could hear what the conversation is,
so you can hear,
and then you'd know.
I got 50 quid on this game. Call it off. All right.
Listen. Hey, give me another point, eh? Come on.
Oh, shit, I spilled my beer over the keyboard. It was a penalty.
Ain't no puka pies available.
Yeah, that was a rough week for VAR. Speaking of rough, Brighton Hove Albion, one of our favorite stadiums in Premier League,
the MX,
they host Man City. I don't know that they showed up because Man City walked in and just won 5-0. A hat trick from Sterling.
His last goal was interesting.
And his last goal was
complete luck. It was so funny.
It wasn't complete luck because he made the space, but it was interesting.
Well, it was the perfect thing of like, don't stop moving toward the ball, right? Because he just kept moving. He did the little chip over the guy, which was beautiful, and then he didn't get a piece of the ball in its second hit, but because he ran up and stayed in play with the defender, it then bounced forward to where he needed to go, and then there's that leap forward, that head to nutmeg the ball through the goalkeeper's feet. He awesome.
Didn't know he was heading the ball through the goalkeeper's
Correct.
feet. Like,
he was falling at the time.
Nah, he had it, man. Yeah, I had a little faith in Sterling. He knew he was doing.
No, I have no faith in Sterling.
That was some Jedi mind trick stuff, man. It was awesome.
Right. This game reminds me of Top Gun when the two guys are like, "Where'd he go?" And then you hear, "Where'd who go?" Yeah. That is this game. 5-0.
So here's the stat that, and I alluded to this earlier, but here's the stat that Mr. Arlo White put out on Twitter. Manchester City's Premier League restart. 7 games, outscored their opponents 23-3, have enjoyed 3 5-0 wins, but somehow have lost twice.
Yeah,
that's insane.
Yeah, and they have a plus 57 goal difference, which is at the moment 8 better than Liverpool, and they are 20 points behind them.
Who Liverpool had a goal differential you didn't think anyone would catch up to at one point, by the way. And they've managed to do it in just a few games. We still got you there, Ron? Oh, I think
probably had to pee.
Or he had to pee. Oh, let's talk about Chelsea some more then.
Man.
That was so great.
God almighty, they got.
I was going to try to take a nap at that time, and then I was like, wait, what's happening?
They got smacked.
Oh, it was beautiful.
The only thing that would have made it better is if Billy Sharp would have come on and had like a hat trick.
There it is. I hadn't really Billy Sharp's name down on my bleep sheet yet, so I knew it was coming. I just write BFS down on my
BFS. Yeah,
that needs to be the jersey you get.
I need to figure out if I can do that.
They won't do Billy effing Sharp. Billy, will you do BFS?
Doesn't quite have the same ring to it, though.
No, but I want to find out. Can you do Billy effing Sharp?
I'm going to see if I can. I'm going to go online right now.
Oh, there you go. I see you, Ron, but I don't hear you. Can you hear us?
Hello.
Oh, there you are.
There he is.
Hello.
We got you.
I think I had a China blackout.
Yeah, you. It's okay. We talked about Chelsea some more.
I'm sure.
It's just
You're all just jealous because you can't have the blue color.
Let's talk about
speaking of which, your jerseys for next year
suck.
Oh, that weird 3 thing in the middle.
It's what Ireland used to have on their national kit jersey, and I know this because I have an Ireland kit and that national jersey. And
those are terrible.
What is it?
Diego Jota, what a goal!
I don't know what that is. What is it?
I don't know either. It's a number to begin with, but I don't know what
accurate. But I didn't know.
I don't know what company it is. I'm sure Ron can find.
Well, because it threw me off because they've already switched that jersey on the fantasy app.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
So it's
Gross.
Yeah, it ain't pretty.
So they announced 3 as the new official shirt partner.
So
3 has long been a Magic.
Literally, hello, Chelsea is brought to you by the number 3. Literally, it's a Sesame Street soccer club. Yes, that's the joke.
Yeah, we're going to see their logo for a couple of years, unfortunately.
Brought to you by the letter 3.
So originally that company was the UK's only 3G network in 2003.
Do they know that we're on 5G now? Shouldn't your shirt say
Hold
5?
on, just relax. Right? Then it says from the UK's only 3G network to having the UK's leading 5G spectrum holdings.
So
and Stamford Bridge is the first 5G enabled stadium.
Sweet, but it's still called 3. So
I
feel like the jokes write themselves. If you if there's like a slow moment that a player gets burned on, you're like, well, they should switch to 5G.
Oh God,
that's hysterical.
And it's going to go to our academy teams and the Chelsea ladies. Wonderful.
Oh, speaking of
and it's not even a cool looking 3 either.
The ladies team in England, Arsenal just had a good signing, and I'm losing who it was. It wasn't Sam. It wasn't like a Sam. What? Who did the Arsenal line?
Sam Ewis signed with. No, not Sam Ewis. Sam Kerr. Who did Sam Kerr sign with?
Somebody big just signed for Arsenal's Lionesses, and I can't remember who it was off the top of my head.
Was it Sam Kerr?
I don't know. I'd have to look that up.
Yeah, I don't think so. I don't remember either.
But we should roll on because I got a ticking time clock here before my wife has to head off to work. And the little one could come in here, but these buttons on this control console are all beautiful colors, and who knows what would happen if she came in here. So MLS is back. Tournament, kind of, sort of, is the thing. We got one game in, and the rest have been postponed. Is that right? Have they all been?
A couple games.
There were a couple games, but some were postponed because there were some.
There were 2 games postponed so far. Nashville, and. Sorry, I don't have the Nashville and FC Dallas's games, and the Chicago Fire. Thank you.
Yeah.
Both of their games were postponed, and that was actually supposed to be on the first day. That was supposed to be the follow up to the Orlando City Inter Milan. I'm sorry. Did I say Inter Milan?
Yeah.
I meant Inter Miami.
Inter Miami. That's actually the game to talk about in the sense that it was Inter Miami's first game. It was also the first meeting between the 2 Florida clubs. That was probably the headline of the tournament to start off with. And Orlando actually wins 2-1. And I don't know about you guys. I wasn't thinking
late score.
I was thinking that wasn't guaranteed remotely. Yeah. So yeah, it was nice to see purple on the winning side again.
Well, and on the winning side, to where the captain not only gets the game-winning goal, which has to be great for the MLS with a star like that coming back and getting the game-winning goal in the first derby game, if you will, of the MLS's back tournament, but he also had a very nice assist to Chris Mueller as well.
Yeah.
And he played very, very well, and it was nice to see Orlando City finish a game.
It was nice to see Chris Mueller playing good out there.
Oh, yeah. And he got the start, too, which is rare-ish for him. But it was nice to see us finish a game. Yes, it was in the 90+7, but there was like 90+10 in this one because of a very bad injury to
Reyes?
Which is sad to see. And he's fine, and now they're just trying to wait for him to get back into the bubble of the confines of
Have you seen
Disney.
how they're like between the MLS at Disney and NBA at Disney? They're like, it's like Fire Festival. These food sucks. People are showing pictures of their food delivered to their rooms.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it's pretty.
Yeah,
funny.
the box with like who's I forget, was it Bradley? I think Bradley shared a picture. He's like holding the sandwich.
Yeah, it's a little rough.
Go look up the picture
Because what they're doing at Disney is they are literally creating what they're calling a bubble where they're trying to, it's, very limited people that work both for the MLSs and then where the NBA is staying. They're both playing the Disney World Order Sports. Can we talk about the weird superimposed Adidas logo on the pitch?
Yeah, that's weird.
That's not
They're trying to use like NFL technology.
But every time they run across it, they look like Return of the Jedi in its original release in '83, where you can see like the green screen cut out of people. You know what I mean? Yeah,
it's so weird.
That's a really weird. My favorite thing was
just put their logo on the top right portion of the screen and move on.
Yeah, I saw somebody they're complaining like, these NBA players like complaining that those hotels at Disney are nice, and you're like, I don't think you guys realize where they normally stay.
Yeah, right.
They're because they call it like Motel 6 and stuff. It's been pretty funny. At least I found it funny. Let's see. Anything else of note to talk about here with our matches for the MLS's back tournament, which isn't a tournament to determine the MLS champion. That's still going to kick off. It's just
which is
preseason
still weird
kind of thing. Yeah.
No, I think it's just kind of going through because we haven't talked about the MLS's back tournament. It was on the horizon when we first had our pod, but it is essentially a tournament that's going to run from July 8th through August 11th. It's going to be about 51-ish matches with a couple of the postponements now that number's gone down, but it should be 36 group stage games and 15 in the knockout round. There's 26 match days. The format is that of what you can expect from a soccer tournament. It's group stage, round of 16, quarterfinals, semifinals, and championship. Each team will play a minimum of 3 games, and the max will be 7 if they get to the finals. And these games will count towards the regular season games.
Oh, they do? Okay, I think that was the one I wasn't actually sure about.
So I don't understand why they're playing a tournament. Why aren't that essentially means absolutely nothing? Why aren't they just playing the season there?
I think it's mainly because they are trying to keep all the teams in one location so that teams don't have to travel to other areas. So they're trying to keep
but why do you need a tournament?
Oh, well, I guess because you've only got one pitch, though.
You only got 1 or 2 fields, and you're trying to keep everybody in this bubble and not have teams going away from home.
Otherwise, what you'd have to do is you'd always have to break up. You'd have to look at the schedule between East and West, make an East campus and a West campus. So, if you were going to do one place.
There's no home and away teams for like a regular season. Think about like the Bundesliga that's come up, that the Premier League's come up. They're all playing their games in their home stadiums just without fans. The MLS, I guess, didn't want to do that because the cases in the U.S. are so high. Yet they're playing in Florida, where we have one of the highest case rates. And anyways, it's
I just I don't. If these games are going to count toward the regular season, just leave it as the regular season. Play the same format that you're playing. You have no need for even Hampton doesn't make sense.
She's like, what the hell is it? And you know what? Change your website, MLSsoccer.com. Like, what the
I love that that's still a topic of conversation on here.
Yeah. MLS, Major League Soccer, soccer.com.
It's like queso cheese.
Yeah.
Yeah, right. But also some things that came up from the tournament. Very, very cool Black Lives Matter tributes in the first couple of games and the games that are taking place there. Thierry Henry, who is now the coach of the Montreal Impact, had a lot of good things to say about it and how he presented himself through a lot of the opening ceremonies, if you will. It's been cool to see that the MLS is showing that and showing the unity between all the players,
especially as one of the first
and coaches and staff.
Especially as the second professional team league to start up following the NWSL, so they get out ahead of everybody.
Yep. The MLS becomes the first men's team sport to return.
First professional was NWSL. First men's was MLS. Speaking of, we should probably move on to NWLS so we can keep. I want to get the Ron's beer news in before we have to hop off.
Yeah.
This tournament's been real fun for the NWSL.
Very fun.
Very good.
Oh,
very
so
fun.
much.
It's weird because you have North Carolina Courage, who was in the finals last year. They are, of course, top of the table with 3 wins on 9 points. But then you have the team that they played, Chicago Red Stars, all the way down there in 8th.
Yeah.
In this, and only 1 draw, 2 losses, and a point. You also have the Portland Thorns sitting down there. They only have 2 points with 2 draws and a loss. You have Sky Blue up there in 2nd right now. And then Dash, Royals, Spirit, and Rain all the way there in the center. But this is a really fun tournament. It takes flight again today, as there are 2 matches that are taking place. And I also will be part of the virtual tailgate for the supporter club for the Pride again tonight.
Sweet.
Yeah.
Sweet.
But you have
Was that fun for the last
Washington...
one?
What's that?
Fun for the last one?
Oh, yeah. It was fun. We actually have a couple of staff for the Pride that will be on the tailgate tonight.
That is awesome.
Director of Communications and somebody else. I got to look at the sheet. But you have the Washington Spirit and the Houston Dash at 12:30 p.m. Eastern Central Time. And then you have Chicago Red Stars and Utah Royals at 10 p.m. tonight. So a very fun tournament, and it's been a blast to watch so far.
Keeping things rolling over La Liga's roundup, Bayern Munich, they win the German DFB Pokal, which is the German FA Cup, and they have now won the double so many times it's ridiculous over there.
Bull, but whatever.
Oh my god, I love it.
If it was Dortmund, you wouldn't be bitching.
Hell no.
But they're just good, guys, in case you're wondering.
Yeah.
They're just very good.
Still, they are.
Still just good.
Real Madrid still sitting on top of the Spanish Premier Division. How far? Who is it? Still Barca's right behind them at 60. So
they're right behind them on
like
by
at 1 point.
But Real Madrid's in better form at the moment, but it's still it's going to come down to those 2 teams as it usually does.
Sorry,
yeah. It's always Real and Barca fighting for the top 2 spots, and then the next people are like 20 points away.
And every now and then Atletico Madrid like surprises people. I love Ferris because Ferris writes the content. His first sentence for Italian Serie A continues to entertain as Juventus lost to Zlatan's AC Milan
100%. And then what's the next sentence? And then how does the next sentence start?
Lord Zlatan
helped to spark the 2-goal comeback early. Oh my god! I feel like you only want to do the Liga's roundup just so you can keep talking about Zlatan.
Damn right.
You know, if you went back to Ghostbusters, what is it? Ghostbusters 2 that has Lord Vigo in it. You could completely swap Vigo and Zlatan, and it would be all the better.
That is, hey, if anybody's got Photoshop skills, some After Effects, I would totally watch that.
I mean, could you imagine Bill Murray on the ladder? Come on, Zlatan, come on.
Oh my god.
Oh, that'd be so great.
So who's sitting on top right now, Syria?
Still Juve.
All right.
Yeah, they're sitting up there. They're on 76 points, and while they lost to Milan midweek, and then they drew yesterday to Atalanta, which was a fun game to watch. 2-2. 2 pens by Uwe. The first, technically a penalty in nowadays game, but it's ridiculous. The second
really
was
soft.
more, but the second was more of a pen. But Juve are up there. Lazio in second on 68. Atalanta on 67. You could see them definitely get in there and nip that second place spot. I don't think it's going to be enough to get all the way up to first, but they are playing very, very well. And then Inter they dropped from second and going head to head with the Juve down to 11 points back of first on 65 points in fourth. So the Serie A,
that was quite a tumble.
Oh yeah, the Serie A has about 6 games left, so it should be entertaining to see how those final 4 places for the Champions League rounds out.
Sweet. Well, that is our soccer news, and I want to be sure we get this beer news in. So we'll turn it over to beer news now. Over to Ron Keller.
That doesn't get old. So, some quick headlines from the beer world. I think the biggest thing is that AB InBev, Anheuser-Busch InBev, has agreed to pay a record $5 million in an offer in compromise for alleged trade practice violations related to sports and entertainment sponsorships. And this is according to the Alcohol and Tobacco Tax and Trade Bureau.
That's
and
a rough
if you
penalty.
don't know who...
Wait a second. Wait,
Yeah.
wait. 2, 3. They just made $5 million. They just were able to pay for it.
Yeah,
Those 3
right.
seconds.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Like that is that's like me giving you were speeding, Ron. You hear me, son?
Right.
You pay this $3 ticket or give me your license right now. Like,
Yeah, exactly.
that's-
Considering the worldwide profit that AB InBev posted last year of $53 billion
it doesn't even matter.
It's a slap
$5
on the
million
wrist at best.
was a sneeze toward the bank account.
They
Exactly.
spent 3 times that on the trial easily. Like,
Well, so in the offer and compromise, they don't go to trial. It's basically a settle out of court.
sure, but I mean,
is-
all the
is
lawyer fees
ultimately
to
what
do
it
all
comes down
that,
to.
though. I guarantee you,
Yes.
it cost them. Yeah,
Yeah, I bet you they spent $15 million on the lawyer fees.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, so the alleged violations occurred from July 2016 to December 2018, and this is what the violations include. Now, I'll go fast, but entering into a sponsorship agreement with various entities in the sports and entertainment industries, requiring concessionaires and other retailers to specifically purchase AB malt beverages and prohibiting them from purchasing specific competitor brands. So that's one. So you can buy my stuff, but you can't buy his stuff because he's our next competitor.
except
right?
that that's not what they're allowed to do, right?
Correct. That's illegal. Inducing sports industry concessionaires to purchase AB's malt beverages and furnishing fixtures, equipment, and services. So it's also not legal for you to say, if you buy all our stuff, we'll send you all the taps and all the kegs and all the CO2 you need for free. That's
you buy our beer and we'll give you a bunch of to go with it.
Right. And so what this is doing is it's placing them in a better position because, for instance, the Crooked Can couldn't do that for our stadium, right? In our soccer stadium, right? So this is how AB InBev is kind of leveraging to make things more or better for them in the long run. They're reimbursing through credit card swipes retailers for the cost of installing the dispensing systems, which, that's way out of line.
Those sneaky, oh, wow.
Right? That's some horse.
That is a diabolical plan right there.
Yeah, and what's funny is they got away with it for probably 3 to 4 years before anybody caught on to it.
Good for them.
Which meant they made the money they needed to. So again, this is still a profit.
Yeah, exactly.
Right.
Ron, I just had to do the math, by the way, at $53 billion profit for the year. That is I wasn't far off in my estimation joke with you, because that is $145,205,479 million a day.
Yeah. So inside of a week, they paid for it.
Oh, inside of 145 million.
Oh, 145 million. Oh, my bad.
145,205,479.
So divide that by 24 and find out what they get an hour.
Oh God. 6 million and 50.
So they literally made that. Yeah, they literally made
they
that.
They cleared it in an hour.
I'm sorry, it wasn't 3 seconds. It wasn't 3 seconds. It's an hour.
What a bunch of shit.
By the way, that's profit, not what they're actually making. What I said is how quick they made is probably actually how much money they did pull in. But we're talking
the rest
profit.
of it, you've got to think about, that's their reported profit.
Correct.
Right.
The rest is through the card swipes and the
payment
concessions to purchase and
painful.
Offshore accounts and
So if you feel like it, you can go on to the Federal Alcohol Administration. I'm sorry, where am I? The Federal Alcohol and Tobacco Tax and Trade Bureau, and you can see all of the things that those guys were doing. You can also see other offers that other people have done. Warsteiner had to pay $900,000 for essentially bribing people. You want to see some brewery industry underbelly? You go to the Alcohol and Tobacco Tax and Trade Bureau website, and you'll see some interesting on there.
You know why it's so hard for craft
It's a dog eat world.
Right. To break in.
Yep. So moving on, 67 breweries and 150 wholesalers so far have taken advantage of the Paycheck Protection Program from the federal government.
Oh, that's awesome.
And here's, I'll just run down the top couple. Bell's Brewery, Bell's Two-Hearted Ale, one of the more
big
popular ones. Yeah,
I actually got one here in my fridge.
Nice. They supported 500 jobs through that, and they received between 5 and 10 million. The federal government isn't required to report the exact amount, so they're just in a 5 to 10 range, or a 1 to 2 range, or a 2 to 5 million range. Deschutes Brewery supported 148 jobs, 5 to 10 million. Iron Hill Brewery, some great beers there, 500 jobs supported. Kings and Convicts, who currently own Ballast Point, 500 jobs supported on that, 5 to 10 million. Sierra Nevada, also 500 jobs plus supported. Allagash Brewing Company, 142 jobs on the 2 to 5 million category. And don't forget, if you're listening and you're in Florida, Allagash is in Florida right now. You can go buy it.
Yeah, but
so make sure you go support it.
You got Brooklyn Brewery, 21st Amendment up here. It's a lot of beers that we have had. A lot of breweries that we.
Yep. Yeah, Alaskan Brewing, which when Ferris and I took that Alaska trip. So yeah, there's a bunch.
A lot of that.
It's really good for these companies to take advantage of this so that they can keep their breweries and keep the beer flowing. And then here's something no one really thinks about, but right now there is a nationwide can shortage that's hitting the beer industry.
Oh.
Right? Due to the massive shift in the way that Americans and Europeans are buying craft beer, we actually don't have enough cans to support, because most breweries are selling theirs in draft beer. So since it was such a switch to curbside and pickup beer,
and making crowlers and stuff like that.
Yeah, it's been really, really difficult. So the top 3 can producers, basically for Europe and for the U.S., have having a really hard time. The 12-ounce slim cans are the hardest to get, and those are like Red Bulls and Michelob Ultra and the new seltzers and ciders. They're not going to have 12-ounce slim cans at all for pretty much the rest of the summer. 16-ounce cans are also really hard to hit. So you'll find those going to like the 10-ounce cans or the larger ones like 32-ounce crowlers. But what's interesting is 32-ounce crowlers completely sold out from places like American Canning and Ball. And Ball's famous. Most people know Ball for mason jars, not for cans. But Ball is the second largest canning company in the country. And they've had to essentially reduce the max order to 1,200 units per half pallet to make sure that what stock they did have was able to go around to all their customers. Jeez. As opposed to just selling it to one person or two people and telling everybody else, sorry about your luck. So now those companies they have a huge surplus for 25.4 ounce crowlers. So they've been serving those in the meantime instead of the 32 ounce, because here in the U.S. the 24 or the 25 ounce is not all that popular. That's more popular. European.
Yeah,
but it's about to be super popular. And then here's another interesting thing, since we were picking on AB InBev earlier. The Metal Container Corporation, which is the third largest can producer, is owned by AB InBev and produces cans and lids for 7 of AB InBev's plants in the U.S. And they had a flex program because cans weren't all that popular and had kind of reached a bit of a plateau. Metal Container Corporation came up with a flex plan, and they essentially sold all the extra that they didn't need to unload it, so they didn't have it just sitting in the warehouse. They would sell it to craft breweries, and craft breweries were counting on all that. Well, once the shift went away from draft beer at sporting events and bars and things like that, AB InBev / Metal Container Corporation yanked that, leaving over 100 craft breweries high and dry without any notice.
Seems like
wow.
What's that word I'm looking for? Monopoly, oligopoly, or whatever it is. That's a little messed up.
Oh, yeah. That old thing.
Oh, beer news. Yeah. Beer news. Basically, we're still getting hit hard with the COVID, and even as we come out of COVID, we're still going to be they're still going to be coming out of this. It's going to take a while to get out of this funk.
Yeah.
Even if the disease disappeared tomorrow.
Yeah.
Well,
it's still a hard time to recover.
I got to wrap us up because I got to take over duties because my wife's about to head out to work. So follow us on the Brewtiful Game, brewtifulgame.com. Follow us on @BrewtifulGame on Twitter, Facebook, Untapped. And if you leave a rating or review for us on Apple Podcasts, whatever, just give us a heads up, give us a screen grab of that, and we will get a koozie and a magnet out to you. But anything else, guys? Did I leave anything out on that list?
Dad joke. No, you had your dad joke earlier. So
yeah, I did the dad joke.
Move on and end it. Yep.
I mean, it's fun to actually be talking about several matches back and actually having sports, because it was getting so rough that they were looking for anything to put on. And I know they were at one point looking at doing the origami championship on TV, and that was going to be on pay-per-view.
Damn it. You sly son of a...
That one crept up on him. I smelled the setup coming. That crept up on him.
I'm reaching for my tea. I'm having another sip of the beer. I'm trying to watch Dean Smith talk about how Aston Villa is going to go down, and you slide that one in there.
Yeah, I got that dad joke right in at the last second. I started laughing last night. My wife said, "Look what I found." Hey, buddy.
Hi.
She's in.
You have a great day.
Timing's perfect with a dad joke, by the way.
Yeah, I got that dad joke in just under the wire. That's right. There's Ferris and there's Ron.
Hi.
All right, gents. Love the beer. Cherish the game. The Brewtiful Game. Cheers.
1, 2, 3, 4.
Yeah, you count, buddy.
Cheers.
1, 2, 3, 4. Cheers.
I count.